I had a few friends, but the people I hung around most with was like my cousin, like it was family, and those were the only real friends that I had was my family, and it's like the situation was really different. I walk into school with like my old Navy puffer vest jacket on, and my Gap jeans and Birkenstock sandals, and I walk in and everybody's wearing like at the time like Platinum Fubu, Sean John, and all of these different things, and it's such a culture shock. And people make fun of me. I told you I was already a really skinny kid. I was short. I wasn't six. I'm 6'3", 200 and well, I'm getting ready for a show right now. But generally 200 pounds. Let's just say that 6'3", 200 pounds right now. Back then, I didn't reach 6'1" until I was 6 feet until I was after my sophomore year in high school. So I was relatively like 5'7". I wasn't really that tall. I was a really skinny kid, big feet. Just was like clumsy as all ever. And at that time, I was like really struggling to fit in because it was nothing that I was used to. I wasn't used to being urbanized like that, and I was so used to being by myself. I just stuck to what I knew. And over a long period of time, throughout high school, I met a few friends, and I had a interesting group of friends. Like I ended up being able to play basketball because I'm a natural athlete, so I made the basketball team in high school. And the friends that I hung out with were like the most non-athletic, just regular, kicking it partiers and type of like just cool kids. Like I really didn't hang out with my athlete friends and my teammates because a lot of them just stole from. Like I remember a lot of my teammates like stole stuff from me. It was times when my mom used to come up to the school like on almost a daily basis because somebody was knocking my lock off and just trying to steal my stuff because we when we originally moved to Wisconsin, my mom didn't have a job or anything like that. Like we lived in the same room at my grandmother's house. So it was me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. We stayed in one room together for a little while we got on our feet. So we got real close. It was two beds in the room, so me and my brother shared the bed. My mom and my sister shared the bed in this small room in her house. And my mom worked really, 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 really hard to get out of that situation, and she really worked hard because she knew me being the oldest and me getting ready to try and go to college, and I was like a really good student. I was such a loner that I didn't even get like detention. I've never spent a day of detention in my life. My brother used to get into fights and stuff all the time, but me never saw a day of detention. Never saw what we call blue slips. I never got in trouble. So my mom used to always want to reward me. So she worked really, really hard. Bought me shoes when she could. Because I told you I hit a growth spurt I went from 5'8" ish to 6'1" from my sophomore to junior year, and that's when I really tapped into my athleticism. I'm just been a late bloomer my entire life at a lot of things. So at this point in time, my mom was really wanting to show me how much she cared, and she was had a pretty decent jobs. She was working double jobs sometimes, and doing all kind of things that I have no idea. To make sure that we were good, and she used to buy me things all the time, and people used to steal my stuff that she bought me. So my mom made a lot of trips up to school, like, to fight in a lot of my battles because I told you I was a mama's boy. I'm her firstborn. I'm her oldest. And I'm like, she's protecting me, and it's what I was used to, and I didn't know. Like I used to get made fun of for that. Like my mom fought a lot of my battles, and people picked on me because of that. And I'm not gonna tell my mom like shut up or don't stand up for me or something like that. But there's a lot of times I did, and she and as a mother, you and as a parent, you just really want the best for your children, and I understand that now, of course, but at that time I was like, you're embarrassing me because everybody's like, you can't fight your own. I'm not a fighter. Like I don't really know. I've met my father one time, but he's a fighter. He was a boxer, and I have my mom has a quick temper, so I have their attitude, but I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not a fighter. I've gotten to a handful of fights in my life. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not an aggressive person, and she did a lot of that for me. So this is just like really shaping the kind of person that I'm going to end up growing up to be. So with me, naturally, like I literally, like, things like prom, I didn't attend my post prom. I didn't hang out with my friends because I was just so used to doing things by myself. Such a loner, right? So graduated college, and I was just like, you know what, I want to go as far away as possible because I don't really want to be around here. So I went to Tyler, Texas, to a HBCU, and historically black college, and just to get away. And things got really bad financially back home, and I just was like, couldn't focus, and I was ready to drop out of school. But luckily, I ended up, I was really, I think I was just blessed. I truly am blessed that I was athletically gifted enough and smart enough to be successful playing basketball, because I ended up getting a scholarship to play at a school in Missouri, small town Missouri. Like, when I say small town, I'm talking about Amish town, right? So I ended up going to a school in Missouri, and I think at this time I met a few friends, and I actually and the thing is, like, as you grow up and you mature and you develop, like, for me, I was considered a cool kid, but to me, I was still insecure and trying to fit in. So, for the most part, I didn't really see what other people saw in me. I still saw this real skinny, shy kid who, didn't, who didn't mess with girls until he was 18 years old. I had girlfriends, used to get cheated on all the time, used to get, I wouldn't say cheated on, just taken advantage of. And because I was really nice and I really wasn't a pushy person, and all of these things, like, I didn't have that kind of interaction with women until college, and all of these things, and, like, this is the kind of person that I ended up being, and I didn't see what other people saw in me. I look in the mirror and I see, like, all these flaws, and other people see, whatever they see different things. And I think it's like the insecurities and all of these things from when I was younger that I never really got a chance to break. I had no opportunity to break the mold. I had never had nobody to sit down and teach me anything. I didn't have, like I said, I never had a father figure there ever to really, when I was, going through, a lot of the times trying to become a young adult. I didn't have that there. So a lot of mistakes that I made, and a lot of things that, inevitably made me who I am today, was just me making mistakes and learning. And I think I've always been behind the learning curve, and because of that, the learning curve has been always just out of reach by a few years. And we're talking about, everything. I was literally just been behind on everything. And so when I graduated college, I think I met a lot of friends there who instilled ambition in me, work ethic, and by the time I was ready to graduate college, I had completely transformed the let's say the need and the want to learn. Like, I had actually wanted to become great at something. I had a desire, I had a passion, because I'm the first person in my immediate family to go to college and graduate college at the time. My mom ended up going back and getting her GED and getting her associates, I believe, and I was the first one. So at that point in time, I have a new fear, and that's failure. I don't want to go back to where, everybody says, I told you so, or go back to a city to where nobody wants to ever see you succeed. And that's what I would have went back to. So after college, I bounced around a little bit, and I ended up getting invited to go play professional basketball in Iceland. And while I was in Iceland, it was a great experience, playing basketball overseas. But through a series of crazy events, and just being placed, I believe, at the wrong place, wrong time, a lot of things, I didn't have an opportunity to further my playing career due to a lack of really support from the teams that I played for. And I feel like I was just, as far as basketball goes, just like a wasted talent, because And my coach used to always tell me if I had developed my jump shot a little bit more, I could have been in the NBA. And I think it's just a lack of opportunity and a lack of confidence. I didn't really have, like I told you, I'm so self-conscious that I didn't even have the confidence. I worked so hard. A lot of people will tell you I put in so many hours developing my craft, and then when it came time to display it, I was so self-conscious of making mistakes that I never put on full display. Never. I mean, I had a couple of glimpses of, throughout my basketball career. I had like a big double-double one. I'm almost 30 points, 12 rebounds one night. And people are like, who is this kid? And it was like me one day decided to tap into my greatness. And it never happened again. Not while I was in college. And I think I can't really blame it on anybody but myself for having a lack of self-confidence. But after my professional career was over with, guess where I ended up? Back in Racine, Wisconsin, with a job at Target and Razor Sharp Gym, so I could have a free gym membership. And at this point in time, I really felt like I failed. I felt like I'm just another one of the people who could have been doing something with his life and didn't. So, that being said, one day I was sitting around with my friends, and luckily I have good friends. That for years and years I've had the same group of friends, and we sat around one day and we were just like, let's take a trip somewhere. And it turned out to be like a guy's trip, and it turned out to be a road trip because I have one of our college teammates lives in Fontana, California, and he was like, you guys just should come out and